Tucker Carlson is at it again, providing a platform to yet another guest to demonize Israel while he nods along in agreement. This time, it was Mother Agapia Stephanopoulos, an Orthodox nun, who joined him for an episode called "Here's What It's Really Like to Live as a Christian in the Holy Land." It might have been more accurately titled, "Here are Some Lies About Christians in Israel." Let's take a look.
There's been studies done that on Palestinians living there now, and they are the Canaanite descendants.
Those studies also find comparable genetic links between modern Jews and ancient Canaanites. By identifying Palestinians alone as Canaanite descendants, Mother Stephanopoulos falsely suggests their claim to being indigenous to the land is greater than that of Jews.
They're the first Christians, the Christians at the time of Christ.
In the first century, the first followers of Jesus were Jewish, not Palestinians.
I think that's part of the whole Greater Israel project. That's why we had the war in Iraq.
She's just making things up. Israel wasn't responsible for war in Iraq. Israeli leaders actually opposed the U.S. invasion of Iraq in 2003, preferring instead that the Bush administration focus on the Iranian nuclear threat. The historian Martin Kramer summarized, "It wasn't Israel that persuaded the Bush administration of the war's necessity, but vice versa. The administration persuaded and then enlisted Israel."
In Bethlehem, water is not given to the city. Those water tanks aren't getting filled during the summertime. And so, and Israel controls the access to the water to the Palestinian towns. So if they decide they only get it once a week, you only get it once a week, while they have swimming pools in their settlements.
In fact, water consumption naturally increases during the summer, and the water carrier can't keep pace. So both Jews and Arabs in those towns have less water. Israel has actually increased the amount of water it supplies at night during the month of Ramadan, so that Muslims who fast during the day can drink water at night. And contrary to Mother Stephanopoulos' strange suggestion, Palestinians too have swimming pools.
Nothing's an accident. I mean, occasionally a shell might go off, but no. And certainly the last time with the one where they pointed at the cross. You don't miss that. Well, at the Holy Family Church, the cross didn't topple, but literally inches from it.
It's frankly absurd to suggest that, in war, nothing's an accident. An Israeli investigation found that the church was hit by a misfired munition during IDF activity nearby. Israel expressed deep sorrow and stressed that it never targets churches or religious sites. Following the incident, the IDF reinforced its guidelines for actions near religious and sensitive sites.
There's 3 churches in Taiba. Settlers burned the brush, and also there's a cemetery right next to it, burned that area.
As Camera and others have documented, despite breathless media reports parroting these allegations, there was no evidence of a fire in the church, which was undamaged. The only evidence of settler involvement shows Israelis attempting to extinguish the fire. One Israeli shepherd reporting trying to smother the fire, only to be confronted by several Palestinians coming out of the cemetery, shouting and throwing things at him. Here's what Mother Stephanopoulos says about Israelis.
The scorn they have for Americans is really something else. No, they don't have any love for Americans.
What is she talking about? Research has found that Israelis have the most favorable view of the United States in the world, and Israeli citizens and leaders regularly express their gratitude for American support.
I keep reading that the Christian population in the region has declined dramatically since Israel became a state in 1948.
Right.
And I'm not quite sure why.
Well, again, I think it has to do because the whole issue is that Israel has continued to grow and think that they can dominate the Christian areas, the areas of Palestine, so they make it very difficult for anyone else to be able to live there. As simple as that.
This whole exchange is divorced from reality. While the Christian population of the broader Middle East has plummeted, Israel is the only country where the Christian population has increased and flourished. In Gaza and the West Bank, where radical Islamism has grown, the Christian population has declined. In Israel, where Christians have full and equal rights, the Christian population has grown. It's as simple as that.
They are not imperiled by Muslims in Palestine. That is an absolute fact.
Contrary to Mother Stephanopoulos' assertions, polling conducted by the Palestinian Center for Policy and Survey Research and the Philos Project in 2020 found that Christians expressed a wish to emigrate at a much higher rate than Muslims, and a large minority of Palestinian Christians expressed the belief that most Muslims do not wish to see them in the country. Significant numbers also reported feeling discrimination and hatred from the Palestinian Authority and Muslim neighbors. Here's what she has to say about the October 7th attacks.
Constantly you heard after October, the October event was that Hamas, Hamas, Hamas. Even to this day we hear it's Hamas,
Yes.
Hamas, Hamas.
Yes, the October event, where Hamas and other Palestinian terrorists invaded Israel and committed the largest massacre of Jewish civilians since the Holocaust, engaged in mass rape and torture, and kidnapped some 250 people back to Gaza.
What is Hamas? Hamas are people who have had their homes taken from them, who, if they live in Gaza, have not been able, basically been in an open-air prison for certainly the last 20 years.
No, Hamas is an internationally recognized terrorist organization dedicated to the destruction of the Jewish state. And far from an open-air prison, Gaza was ranked relatively highly on the Human Development Index before Hamas launched the current war on October 7th. Here's how she explains Christian Zionism.
They believe in the idea of the rapture. They're going to be swooped up into heaven, right? And then there's going to be a 1,000-year kingdom. And then there'll be the end of the world and the judgment by Christ, and he'll come back. These Christians of wrong belief believe that they need to rebuild the temple as part of their plan. We want to have this third world war because we're going to be taken away. And we'll be okay, and we'll come back later after all the fighting's done.
Research conducted by scholars Moti Inbari and Carol Booman, Phaedra Shapiro, and others found that the overwhelming majority of Christian Zionists base their support for Israel not on end times theology involving the building of a third temple and the second coming of Christ, as Mother Stephanopoulos claims, but on common religious and cultural values shared with Jews, as well as biblically based beliefs in a God who keeps his promises to his people. This is only scratching the surface of the distortions and misrepresentations Mother Stephanopoulos promoted in this interview. It fits with an unfortunate pattern that Tucker Carlson has followed, of providing a platform to an audience of millions for guests to spread wild, inflammatory lies about the Jewish state with no challenge from Carlson himself, who purports to be a journalist.